really trying to pick up as many wins as they can here.
Having the last week of regular season be a super week like this leaves so many of these doors and so many of these possibilities open for where teams could end up, who could qualify, who could get a bye, yada yada.
In Immortals, theoretically, there are still some scenarios.
Exactly.
Jack broke it down. It's a long shot.
It's some Doctor Strange type of thing where he has to read 90 multiverses and figure out a way that TSM gets themselves in there, but it is possible.
It's possible.
But let's go ahead. We already got some AD carry prioritization with the Hecarim and Nocturne being banned away. It's Zeri locked in for the Golden Guardians. The nerfs took her off the ban table, and now she is perma-pick status.
Yep, getting locked in pretty much every single game. Nautilus going to be grabbed up here for core, bringing some engage for TL. If they do want to go with the Kai'Sa that they were hovering for so long there, that is a strong pairing, but obviously you wouldn't have to grab it in this round, knowing that the Golden Guardians already selected their marksman, so you can grab it third if you do want to try to take away something that is a little bit higher priority.
Yeah.
I've been really liking that Golden Guardians have been willing to kind of commit to some split push in some of these games. You know, not just AblazeOlive playing through sides. He was doing that with Ryze and things like that, but we got to see Fiora last week. We've gotten to see some pretty interesting stuff, and it's going to be Ashe, actually, being brought out here from Hans Sama. We did see it from Arrow last week. Was not a great game from him, but I do think that Ashe is a strong pick, is going to help out your jungler, tracking Pridestalker, allowing Santorin to have that extra info on where he is on the map, utilizing that hawk shot. And the engage power of that Enchanted Crystal Arrow is very, very strong, especially since the buffs on the move speed, especially these longer range arrows. It's really noticeable how much quicker that is moving. So you've got to be on when you're watching out for these arrows. They can come out of fog really, really fast now.
You got to be ready to go. And hey, with Nautilus right next to it too, that's tons of engage power just in the first two picks here for TL. Over on the other side, Golden Guardians will not be caught lacking in engage themselves. They will lock in the Leona next to the Zeri and pick up Volibear in the jungle.
Yeah, they're going to grab the volley, and I was going to say, it feels like a pretty good Trundle angle here for Santorin. I do think it's a pretty good matchup against the Volibear. You know, when Volley ults in, you can ult him, take away a lot more of that HP. Very strong against the Leona as well, who, you know, traditionally going to be going Aftershock. We are seeing, obviously, a lot of Glacial these days, but some people still do go Aftershock at times when they want to go for 2v2 kills. Expecting that with the Trundle on the team, you will be going towards Glacial, but even just with that W up, you can steal those stats, become very tanky yourself, and you also don't need to be any sort of a hard engage as the Trundle when you already have the Nautilus and the Ashe Arrow, and the Trundle Pillar sets up really well for that Ashe Arrow, for even the Nautilus hooks. Gives you a lot of easy ways to engage, to slow down these champions, and you know, really find that fight you want.
I mean, it's one of the classic things you always think about when you're up against somebody that has one of those big, powerful straight line skill shots. Don't stand between your turret and the wall, right? Because it gives an easy spot. Well, just think of Pillar as a temporary frozen turret. You summon it somewhere, pin him against the wall, boom! Arrow straight to the knee like it was Skyrim 10 years ago. Now, we got ourselves some solo lane focus in the second half of the bans. Jace is banned out, LeBlanc is banned out. Both teams picked both of their bottom lane roles as well as their jungler in the first half, so it will only be solo targeting here. TF will be Team Liquid's last ban.
And I think that says that Bjergsen is actually going to be the one blinding. It's going to be Bwipo last picking here on red side.
Okay.
So you double ban mid. You know, he has a pick in mind that he doesn't want to deal with very likely. You know, Bjergsen, I'm assuming, is going to be the fourth pick. And then we'll have, you know, Bwipo saving for last to be able to get that matchup, and that's why we're seeing that Jace ban thrown over. Lucian, arguably a top lane ban as well, as Bwipo did bring that out last week. So a lot of focus towards things that TL did last week. You know, the Ahri, they were talking about on the desk, but I think Bjergsen had some of his best games of the split on the Ahri, taking that away from him. It wasn't one of those situations where he was kind of just like sitting back and following up on what his team was doing. He was really the one making it happen. So as expected, Bjergsen goes blind. He is going to be grabbing the Viktor here, so trying to, you know, eliminate the ability of the AblazeOlive has to really kind of like push and move with the TF, with the LeBlanc to play out of fog. I think he wants Ablaze to kind of just play him in control mage versus control mage and just have that as a more isolated lane, and that's exactly what he's going to get. If you have a lot of confidence in your side lanes, this is exactly where you want to be. You just want to play to farm it out mid and allow your side lanes to create that advantage.
And that's what the desk was talking about, right? Jat brought up the point. He's saying, look, You don't need to be the solo killer, the mid lane thriller, the dude racking up all these wub-wub montages. If you can just trust the rest of the team to do their job, if you can role play mid, hey, that's fine. And Viktor is one of the ideal candidates for that. It's the Gnar blind picked top for Licorice and the Golden Guardians. And now Team Liquid will bring in the Ornn horn for Bwipo.
I was going to say, you know, conspicuously open, things like Aurelia, some of those aggressive melee counterpicks are available. Obviously, the range counterpicks that people would bring into the Gnar would be the Jason and Lucian, which Golden Guardians already banned out. So it is just going to be like, this is a TL of old comp. This is a straight up, go late, 5v5, we're going to outplay you there. This is TL, when you think of them winning, you know, their 4 straight titles, like that's how they played, right? And that has been much less the style that they've been bringing out this year, but they're staying flexible and coming into playoffs, they want to show they can do it all.
I'm ready to see it. Golden Guardians and Team Liquid. It's Super Week, baby. Let's get it going on.
You're just in time for Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. This assist goes to CoreJJ for an epic save on Bwipo, who is conducting a deadly dance with Jenkins and Palafox in the top lane.
Oh, that's it!
The last auto gets him, but Everfrost should be enough. Shen's coming! Shen's coming!
Oh!
The shield's too much! The ignite! Will it kill him? No, the man is gonna live!
So one thing I want to bring up here, because you mentioned this is the TL of old, this is scaling power, this is 5v5 team fighting. I kind of like the fact that this is the game that they choose to deploy that in, because they're up against Golden Guardians, which historically has been a trap game for TL, right? Like, even back in the days when we're talking about the 4-peat, Team Liquid just running the whole league, they would drop random games to Golden Guardians almost as if it was just like a game of Pokemon and it's a type counter.
Yeah.
I was so perplexed by some of these. So this is Team Liquid saying, no, we will not fall into the trap here today.
The Golden Guardians is the electric type, you know, Team Liquid's water type, I guess.
Man, some of the, it was like the double counter. It was like Team Liquid was, man, I haven't played Pokemon in so long. I'm about to get flamed by Pokemon fans for not being able to think of this. But yeah, Team Liquid was water and flying, and they were versus electric, so it double zapped them times 4.
There you go.
Yeah, 2 times.
I mean, Zeri is basically a Pikachu.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
similar.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
Wait. We did not actually. Zeri looks like a particular unbranded lightning mouse creature that definitely we will not get sued for.
True.
That is what Zeri looks like as Team Liquid is setting up for an invade here early on. They are not waiting. They're not delaying this. They're just moving in there as 5, seeing if they can catch anybody. They'll put down some wards on their way out, so they'll see if there's anybody hanging out at this red buff here at the start, or what that jungle is going to look like.
Yep, and they did sweep out a ward already on the invade. This year, I feel like more than any other that I can really remember, teams across the world are finally starting to employ more diverse level 1s, right? We're seeing more of this, and I do think that it is worth mixing into your gameplay. It's very low risk, and I would not say high reward. I would say like low risk, medium
reward, yeah.
And that's a trade up, right? That is a good situation, and I like this as well. Just being able to get that 1 early volley plus an auto off, that's a winning trade there. Harass them as they come in. No overcommitment or anything like that, but a little bit of chunk down onto Lost, and we'll see how they're going to be able to do in this 2v2. But it's interesting because when you brought up the kind of TL versus GG type thing, I thought you were going to go a different way, because what I immediately thought of is more, you know, this year focused, where to me, when I think about Golden Guardians in playoffs, my concern for them is that everyone knows that they are a strong early game team, so that teams would ban out the high variance early game champions and just pick to 5v5 you late. Because Golden Guardians has shown that no game is unthrowable for them. Like, they lose a lot of games where they have big leads. They're an incredibly good early game team, but they drop a lot of those games due to their own mistakes. And I thought this was kind of the strategy that TL are looking for, where they're saying, we don't think you can play late, so we're going to ban out high variance champs. We're going to ban out side lane champs. We'll take away your TF. We'll take away your Blanc. You can't snowball. You got to play control mage versus control mage, set up for the dragon, and 5v5 us. And that has not been Golden Guardian's strength. So I think it's smart drafting from TL, and I think a lot of teams will do this to Golden Guardians, assuming they make playoffs. So this is an opportunity for Golden Guardians to say, no, you are wrong. You have the wrong read. We can play 5v5. We can go late against these squads. And if they can do that, if they can take a game against TL, I think a lot of teams will have to go back to the drawing board on how you want to approach them come playoff time.
It's one of those things where the steel's got to go through the fire for Golden Guardians, and Team Liquid's turning up the heat, because this is not just some random team daring you to meet them in scaling. This is Team Liquid that we've already discussed. This is kind of their bread and butter. This is their old school foundation. So Golden Guardians having to answer that. Let's see if they can get anything going early on here. It doesn't really look like Team Liquid's given them much opportunity. Pridestalker is going to drop an E there in mid lane, but he won't get much more. It's Core and Santorin coming up from the other side. AblazeOlive nearly out of mana here. This could be bad news, but AblazeOlive with a flash out in time.
Yep, he is going to flash out, well done from him, but it still sucks, right? Like, you still have to lose that flash, and unless you can actually punish Core on the bot side, which feels unlikely, because TL have had the push on bot side constantly. They have Ashe for the additional scouting with the hawk shot, so they should be able to keep eyes on where Pridestalker is at. Bjergsen is going to be able to hold that wave. Doesn't really deny much of anything, but will be at least a minion or two that gets denied from Ablaze, and he'll be up 2 summoners to 0. Plus, his squad is still kind of hanging around. We'll see if they do actually fully complete the recalls, and they will. So AblazeOlive will be safe for now, but he doesn't know that. Bjergsen's going to get a better buy on the first reset, and potentially there's an opportunity to regain.
Yeah, and it's not like Bjergsen's feeling the pressure to immediately need to recall and go shop. He's running out of resources or anything like that. I mean, his opponent went back, bought boots and a tier. Neither of those are going to apply a ton of extra lane pressure, and Bjergsen's still got enough mana to shove out another wave. So now, after he gets that wave shoved out, you can see he's backing up to his turret. Now he's going to look for the recall, as AblazeOlive still has to clear out the last couple remnants of this wave.
Yeah, and we'll see if he actually wants to hold on to his TP for later, or if he's just going to immediately TP back. It does go back with a lot more gold than Ablaze did actually have, so he gets a slightly better buy. Obviously, picks up his boots, but he also grabs the Doran's ring. He gets the mana crystal, so had about the extra mana crystal is kind of the difference there, and the pink ward. Yeah, going to be able to clear a little bit of vision, which is going to make things a little bit spooky. But Golden Guardians are obviously well aware of the potential for another move towards mid, and that's why we have this ward here. That's why there was that side lane ward from AblazeOlive that he placed as well. They're trying to cover the move from CoreJJ, who already forced that flash.
Yeah, and with this relatively slow-paced early game, we're having a very even state of things here pretty much everywhere. I mean, top side, yeah, about a 1 waves difference in farm between the Gnar and the Ornn. Things are pretty par for the course across the entire comparison of our two teams. The gold's dead even. Santorin's hanging around mid once again. Bjergsen goes in for the flash, puts the gravity well behind AblazeOlive, and now they're going to cut him off with the pillar. It's first blood over to Bjergsen.
And Bjergsen was 1 assist away from 3,000. He should have given it to Santorin. What are you doing, Bjerg? Think of the stats.
Think of the stats. It's okay, we'll sound the alarm once he gets that first assist.
What if he only gets kills this game?
If Bjergsen only gets kills this game, however many of those habanero peppers we got left, I'll double fist them. I'll eat 2 of them at once. If Bjergsen finishes this game with 0 assists, habanero
there you go.
Double dare for me. You can clip it, I don't care, it's fine. We already know. Anyway, Santorin picks up the Drake with CoreJJ's help. That is Team Liquid getting the first neutral objective of the game at 6.5 minutes. Pretty quick.
Yep, very well done. And I like the repeat gank. It's a simple thing, but it's something you always want to punish those missing sums. CoreJJ trades flash early. They go for a repeat gank. This time, Bjergsen expends his flash. Him and Santorin go all in. They get the kill onto AblazeOlive. First blood onto the Viktor is huge. Like, you see, it's going to be, their biggest source of damage in the late game. Ashe can be pretty high damage, but it's not like a Jinx. You are more of that supportive style. Viktor is the highest DPS champ on this team by far. So getting Bjergsen into that good spot is going to bode really well for their scaling.
And I like this in like the theater of the conversation that they were having beforehand, comparing Bjergsen to AblazeOlive, talking about the solo kills and the differences and how Bjergsen's able to sit back and play the role he needs to play if everybody else on the team is shining. This also shows, hey, if the team's willing to invest in Bjergsen, they can come play a mid lane centric game if they need to.
Absolutely. And I think, the buy here from Bjergsen kind of shows the type of game they want to play. It's Merc Treads, right? There's a lot of CC between the Volley, between the Leona. He doesn't need to spike now and play for power. They're going to try to play a slow game. And this is, even if it is a one-sided game, like, going to be a longer game you can expect. Bjergsen just wants to stay safe from the ganks. He knows he spent his flash on that, so there is the possibility of Olleh or Pridestalker getting over there, flash stunning him, taking him down, so he goes mercs. He's going to stay safe and just keep farming minions. It's not a rush towards Lost Chapter or effective combat power. He just wants to stay safe and fight minions.
And the other thing worth talking about here, and the reason that I brought up the neutral objective take was pretty early, is I'm going to be seeing if Golden Guardians can sneak away this next Drake, if they can make some sort of a challenge for it, because that is one thing that Team Liquid will eventually be able to do if they keep this Drake control, is force Golden Guardians into a fight sooner than they might want to.
Absolutely. And, you know, you have to give some credit to Bwipo here on the top side as well. There's only down the 4 CS. You know, he's on his Warden's Mail now, so that's kind of the bane of all the physical damage range operators here, as Warden's Mail makes it so hard to actually poke them out. A lot of people moving up here. TL have all 5 here at this Herald. Golden Guardians are moving up, but they're a little bit more slow. Is Hans gonna commit the arrow?
Well, we've already got the Leona engaged, and now the Golden Guardians strike! Gold against Team Liquid, 2-0 off Olleh's engage.
Yeah, that was a big fight there. Pridestalker going in, AblazeOlive going in, all the ultis being stacked and bursting him down. I think TL just had the timing, they thought, to be able to go over there and get that Herald really uncontested, because they were moving all 5 up. But it's a great engage. Catches Bjergsen, take him down, get the Herald for yourselves. And this is kind of when Volley really wants to fight. You know, Volley is very happy to scrap early on here, moving in from the side, you know, with AblazeOlive. Olleh coming in, sketches both of them with that ulti. The shockwave, the ulti damage from Pridestalker, everything stacked on top. Core and Bjergsen just get deleted there. That was a big time engage from Olleh. That gets them a lot.
That was awesome. It got them the 2 kills. It got them the Rift Herald that now they'll be able to use to snowball even further. You look at the timer, you look at how much time's left on that. They're guaranteed to get plates from it as long as they, you know, don't drop it in Timbuktu or something. So this is really good for Golden Guardians, because we were talking about how Team Liquid wants to avoid volatile early games. Well, hey, when Olleh hits the perfect solar flare, things get a little bit dicier.
Absolutely, and Bjergsen didn't have flash. Core either didn't want to flash it or didn't react in time. You know, definitely give him credit that he didn't think he needed to flash it perhaps. But, you know, they both get stunned up. They get punished big time. But yeah, just to kind of bounce back to this top lane point a little bit, we've seen Licorice actually have, I think, some very impressive laning. You know, you think back to his Gnar game against, it was Sion. I want to say it was maybe Someday he was playing against. I can't quite recall. But he's had a game in particular where he was up 50, 60, 70 CS in the 1v1 against the Sion. And, you know, this is Bwipo actually keeping it very, very even. So Ornn is going to be pretty happy about this. We'll see how much turret damage he can actually start to get down, because he has a Sheen now. You can start to whittle away on that tower. Because if you're not creating a farm advantage, you want to create a pressure advantage, whittle away on those plates, and set up potentially for Pridestalker to actually drop that Herald top and maybe get yourself first tower.
Yep, Bwipo on the Ornn will be a problem as the game continues. Obviously, we're pretty far away from the olden days of the Ornn, who had the ridiculously effective Abyssal Mask plus Sunfire combo.
Like 3,000 gold.
Yeah, like just the absolute how did this stay in the game for so long level of efficiency. But down here in bottom, it is already over for Lost as CoreJJ grabs the kill and Hansama flashes away from the follow-up. It's support traded for AD carry 1-for-1. Bwipo with the knock up underneath the turret for the solo kill.
Oh, Bwipo gets one back on the top side there. As TL engaged, they get the first kill, but it was a nice trade from Golden Guardians. It cost them 4 members to do it though, and at the same time, Licorice trying to go big up on the top side. That final knock up there from Bwipo, plus it looked like the Spellbook Ignite was enough to actually prevent. Olleh flashes for it!
Olleh with the Flash Zenith Blade to stop Bjergsen's teleport, and now the Team Liquid mid laner is nearly dead against AblazeOlive's damage. Olleh's likely gonna die for his sins, and AblazeOlive will do the same.
Oh, no.
Was it actually worth it?
It was not.
Doesn't appear so. Santorin, Officer Santorin takes a bite out of crime, and Policeman Trundle. Oh my goodness, it is absolute disaster for GG.
3,000 career assists though for Bjergsen there. Cashing in.
No more habanero peppers. Bjergsen got 2 assists.
Oh man, this guy has been around the league doing it at the best for so long. 3,001 career assists in the LCS now. Multiple MVPs, so many titles, has been a force in the LCS for so long, and it's incredible to see him hit that milestone, but definitely the engage not working out at all for Olleh. He thought he had the ability to punish there on Bjergsen. He trades his flash to cancel the TP. If they get the kill and get out, like that's really good for Golden Guardians,
sick.
but doesn't work out. That fails. They get the solo kill on the top side. Everything starting to go TL's way.
Oh, Pridestalker and AblazeOlive, though. They're trying to make up for this.
He's gonna live.
Bjergsen gets away. The damage over time from Corrupting Potion isn't enough. Bjergsen's flash was back up. He got out in time. Tragedy for Golden Guardians. 100 more damage would have done it.
At the very least, though, they do crash the plates, and they're going to deny a lot of farm from Bjergsen because he has no TP because of the earlier TP that we saw get canceled there by Olleh. So all of these waves are going down to the tower. He is still up in farm because of some of the earlier plays, but that looks like basically 2 full waves that was going to be denied there from Bjergsen. The plates crash, so the tower is almost down here. The gold staying very, very even. So Golden Guardians, again, impressing in the early stages, as we're going to see the arrow just go a little bit wide there.
Yep. But I like the attempt that they made with that arrow, because if that does hit, if AblazeOlive sticks around for an extra auto attack onto the turret or whatever, Bjergsen's getting back at just the right time where, I mean, all you do is throw your ult on him, throw your E on him, everything hits and he dies.
Exactly. You know, it is worth a shot. And Hans was on a base timer anyway, so he shot at the arrow, base. So a lot of the cooldown is actually going to be gone. I mean, you track the cooldown here, it's going to be halfway up by the time he gets back to his tower, right? So it's not actually that long of a cooldown anyway, and it's not going to be a big deal. You know, just 40 seconds here remaining, so you play a little bit safe during this window, and then you can start to look for plays here once again.
Exactly, and there's no neutral objectives to fight over either, right? I mean, you've got 3 minutes until the next Drake. There's still a while until the Herald comes back alive again. Team Liquid does have that 2-0 Drake lead over the Golden Guardians, with a Mountain Soul being on the menu. When Mountain Soul is the possibility, and you have Ornn, and you have Trundle, and you have Nautilus, Golden Guardians knows they do not, under any circumstances, want to give this over. So that just means that I'm expecting a Drake fight here in about 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Azael.
I think we pretty much have to see one. You know, it's both comps are built fairly similarly. You know, it is a lot about 5v5. No one wants to play fully through side lane. Licorice can split a bit, but generally Gnar is not going to end the game through sides. You know, especially if Bwipo were to build to kind of prevent that. So it's going to have to be a fight over this next dragon. You can't allow TL to be on sole point at like 17, 18 minutes. It's just going to put too much pressure, I think, on you for the rest of the game. So we'll see what the setup is going to be. Of course, there's a lot of time to kind of get some vision around there. But for now, TL is dominating vision on the bottom side. It has been Golden Guardians playing more towards that top side. You know, that's where their wards are. They're going to grab themselves another Herald. And I wouldn't be shocked to see them just drop this immediately top, grab another tower to try to extend their gold lead, because they take that mid lane tower. You can drop this here, get a second
Don't even
tower.
have to.
And yeah, maybe even better, don't even have to. If you want to move it in for the tier 2, you could try. But I think that's a little bit risky, knowing that some of the TL members are in base. So I'd prefer Pridestalker just hold on to it at this point and drop it right before the dragon's about to spawn, just to kind of create another point of conflict to try to draw TL members to answer that. And at the very least, they answer, you get positioning on the dragon, maybe you get that. And if they don't answer it, you potentially get a tower.
Right, trying to get something out of a situation that feels like it might be stacked against you. Do you want to applaud Team Liquid for having the awareness to grab the first turret by what was, I think, 2 or 3 seconds by overloading bottom there, sending Santorin down, forcing their opponents back, because the mid lane turret fell right after.
Towers.
Yeah, he just smacks the snot out of him. And now Santorin is in the enemy jungle, and he'll be trying to clear out some of those wards. But of course, Olleh is ready to defend the vision lines as any good support would. 1 minute left till our third Drake of the game spawns. Azael, this gold difference, I don't know if I've seen a 4-digit gold difference this entire game. It has just been back and forth, very close.
60 gold is the advantage. It's nothing at this point. Han's trying to sneak around. You can see when he's going out of fog, he's potentially looking for an Ashe arrow. But I like that TL showed up so early to this dragon to defend their vision line, because they already had a good amount of vision in the river, and they knew for a fact, because they had multiple pinks there, that Golden Guardians had no eyes on that river. So they're showing up early to try to fight for this darkness that the observers are showing us. There's no eyes in this area. They have all of the advantage as far as the vision does go, but Licorice pushes out top. He's going to move down, try to start channeling up that Gnar bar, get that ready to fight, because that is going to be critical for this potential engage. But here goes now.
All right, Olleh's decided to engage, but the counterattack is coming out on AblazeOlive is under pressure. Olleh, Ablaze, they're both already dead, and Team Liquid's got nobody in trouble. Santorin keeps the chase alive, looking for Pridestalker as Licorice and Lost try to farm up underneath the tier 1 turret and remove the wave. TL gets the fight. TL's gonna take the red. Golden Guardians coming back into their own jungle. Is this a mistake? It just might be. Gravity Well's gonna force out a flash. Licorice tries to get away from the Chaos Storm. He'll survive with 200 health. but Team Liquid have decidedly won the fight.
Yeah, that is just really smart stuff. And it's all about the Gnar bar. You know, I talked about Licorice coming down, and he wanted to charge up his Gnar bar on that wave. He came one wave early for the Dragon, specifically so he could actually charge up the Gnar bar, have it at that 90, 95 mark, right where you're easily able to proc it as soon as you need. But TL said, okay, we're not going to let you do it. Bwipo immediately throws down the ulti. Hansama has his ulti. TL just forced a fight on Mini Gnar. As soon as they see Licorice arrive here, they're saying, there's no shot you get Mega in this fight. He's got 0 rage. So the call is go, go. Look for the fight immediately. Go Spellbook pop there. Really nice timing. Hansama hits the arrow as the R1, as the horn is coming through, and then it can be layered with that knock-in on the second hit. Right on top. So AblazeOlive just fully CC chained there. Ashe arrow into the Ornn ulti. They knock him down. No chance at a counter engage because Licorice doesn't have Mega, and that puts him at sole point here.
No Mega Gnar, and then AblazeOlive died with the Shockwave still up because of the chain CC that you're talking about. Team Liquid will now enjoy that pressure advantage that you mentioned earlier for the rest of the game. This is so difficult now for Golden Guardians despite a close gold situation, because if you have to commit to stopping this Mountain Soul, remember Soul has about 5,000 golds worth of effective value for any given dragon. That just means that Team Liquid will then have extra pressure on turrets or barons or whatever else.
Absolutely, and it allows your front line to play, you know, I think a lot more aggressive when you do actually have that Mountain Soul shield. It's also a lot easier for the backline if they're diving in there and trying to, you know, pull off 100-0 with some sort of, you know, Orianna combo alongside the Leona. Well, Mountain Soul shield is going to make things a lot more difficult with that as well. The flat resistances on the individual dragons is also really effective at negating any sort of spell pen that's going to be, you know, purchased up potentially from the Orianna. So it does become actually really difficult to deal with. And you already touched on the fact that they have Ornn. I mean, Ornn is already going to be really tough to get through. So when you're playing these kind of slow style games, I think Mountain Soul is a tough one to deal with.
And when we're talking slow style, we've got to remember where we actually stand along that overall timeline of the game, because welcome to level 13, and welcome to the world of those little orange icons in the bottom corner of the item.
Forged grass.
I'm never saying any of that garbage because all it does is confuse people because no one knows what it is.
The orange mythic.
It is the bigger Frozen Fist is what it is, and that is what Bwipo's got equipped, and soon he'll be able to upgrade the arsenal for the rest of the team. 1-0 and 2
the
on
first
Ashe.
upgrade? Because that's your best friend.
Okay, I was going to put this in terms. See, now we're opposite. Now you're saying the goofy stuff, and I was looking at it as well. You definitely got to give it to one of your guys who's doing the damage. You're like, no, I will abandon you as my friend. Okay.
That's how you signify it, you know, as Ornn.
All right, if Skarner was Ornn, I would always give you the first upgrade.
Oh, thank you. I
but
appreciate
he's
that.
not, so that'll never happen. As Licorice is going to get yeeted up into the air, CoreJJ is ready for follow-up, and Bwipo gets a killing spree. Golden Guardian's going to see what they can find on the other side of the map. Is there a counterattack to be had? Isaac, I don't think there is.
Nope, not too much, but it looks like they might be able to knock down the turret. Bjergsen softens up the wave with his ulti, so all those minis will only take 1 auto instead of the 2. But Pridestalker can just tank this up. They're going to finish it off, so nicely done. Good attempt there from Bjergsen. It is smart for him to micro his ultimate just to the back line, because that does reduce, even if you get 1 pulse on the range minions, it's 1 turret shot instead of 2, right? So it's double the speed. But TL can do the same thing on the bot side. Already touched on it. Trundle's one of the best turret killers in the game. Your W gives you attack speed. Guess what? Works on towers. Your Chomp is an auto attack reset, and the Chomp itself works on the towers. So Trundle crushes them. Bwipo just tanked it up for him, and the Divine Thunder or Trundle makes short work of it. But still, very, very close game. Golden Guardians, a lot of pressure on them due to the situation with the Dragons. But if they can really get it together here and showcase some great team fighting, you can absolutely come back in this game. You know, the soul has not been cashed in on yet, so all of that effort that TL has spent on it hasn't really paid off yet.
It's close, but not quite over the line. Bwipo has also now fully evolved his Fimbulwinter. He chooses Hansama as his best buddy. That is the first upgrade to another teammate. The Gale Force has arrived. Now, the fight itself, this soul fight that's going to be so important, 45 seconds away. You can see both teams contesting the mid lane wave, both teams trying to get some vision established here in the bottom side river. Bjergsen is up in top lane, but he has his teleport ready to go to arrive. Please note that the other 3 solo laners in the game also have teleports ready for whatever their position might be, and it's Golden Guardians who currently occupy the river.
Yeah, BlazeOlive and Licorice feel like pretty ready to go. They're on 2 items, Pridestalker's on 2 items. Kind of sucks for Zeri though, because Lost is a lot of your damage, and just on the Triforce plus the Tiamat is not like a big power spike at this point in the game. And this is
really
a fight
like
that
Titanic.
yeah, if he was on Titanic, I would like their chances a lot more. Hans is on 2 items plus the BF, but they do have the inside track. Licorice trying to charge up, and TL's just gonna go.
Bwipo's ready to start it off, and Olleh's about to die here at the very beginning. AblazeOlive trying to disengage here with the exhaust on him, finds a shockwave on 2, but Lost is already gone. CoreJJ with a flash dredge line, but AblazeOlive with a flash of his own to get away. Santorin keeps trying to cut off the fleeing members of the Golden Guardians. He walks right past Licorice, looks for the pillar onto AblazeOlive. The rest of the team finds Licorice. The Mega Gnar is way too late to do anything that matters. And Hans Sama's flash forward into the volley double kill means Team Liquid takes the fight, takes the soul, and takes firm hold over this game.
Man, making it look easy in these team fights. The gold is close, but it's 11-3, and now up to 2.5k gold lead. Plus, you add in the thousands of gold of value from the soul. You add in the value from the Ornn upgrades that are coming through. And again, you're showing up. You don't have the Gnar bar charged here, so TL, they just force the fight. It's Licorice on 0 rage here, and actually follow Pridestalker on the side. It's this area on the side here. Pridestalker jumps back towards Lost and actually jumps over where the arrow is going to come. So the arrow tags onto Lost right here, doesn't actually have the angle to block for him. Pridestalker, that's one you gotta take the L on that. You gotta die for your AD, or he can't be there in the first place. But Lost didn't flash it. Maybe he didn't see it, or maybe he thought the Volibear was going to block that. But as soon as that happens, the fight is just over. There's no shot when your AD goes down that early. And yes, it's a great Mega Gnar ulti here from Licorice, but too little too late. He doesn't have any threat at the beginning of the fight until he gets Mega, and TL are just capitalizing on this so well. So, I mean, Licorice has to do a better job of showing up to the fights with his Gnar bar at a point that you can actually threaten a turn.
And hey, look at the damage in the last fight. It was Hans Sama topping the charts, but it was Santorin right behind him there. The power of the Trundle just eating through these guys as Team Liquid with their Mountain Soul and a 2,500 gold lead are taking control over the top side river now. Their 4-man squad might just look for Licorice here. CoreJJ not going to find the dredge line. Both mid laners are not present for what could be this fight as Licorice tries to get out and Santorin leads the way. Bwipo's coming around from the other angle. Licorice is locked down, a defensive Mega Gnar to try to get himself out. He uses a stopwatch, but what's it gonna do? Not a thing. Olleh's the next target, and Leona's not tanky enough to survive this TL squad. AblazeOlive stuck underneath the tier 2 turret will buy a moment longer with a stopwatch, but that is it. Golden Guardians are lined up in a neat little single file line, and Team Liquid is checking them all out.
Man, I want to see a replay of that and count the tower shots on Bwipo. It looked like he tanked a good 15 tower shots or something there. Just fully tanking up the tower through that entire scrap, taking no damage whatsoever. I said this was going to be a long game. Egg on my face. It looks like TL, they're just pushing in for the win.
Team Liquid at 26 minutes. They got 5 players in the enemy base, and Golden Guardians only got one. Golden Guardians only got none left. Excuse me. Team Liquid 17-3 in a game that never even had a 1,000 gold difference until what felt like 20 minutes are now about to end it and take the Nexus. Bwipo wants to pad his stats a little bit more, but the team's got other plans. Team Liquid takes the win.
Very clean win here from TL, 17-3, the kill score. And this was a game about team fighting. This was a game about setups, and this is my concern for Golden Guardians, is this is already what I thought teams were going to try to do against them in playoffs, is eliminate volatility and play towards late game play and force Golden Guardians to have those proper setups that TL knew that they could do. TL had the better setups at the Dragons, 3rd Dragon fight, 4th Dragon fight, the fight around mid lane. Every time it was a team fight, they have the better setup. They engage before the Mega Gnar is ready. They execute really well on that. Hans Sama and Bwipo in particular were really coordinated with the Ashe arrows and the Ornn ultis coming through, layering CC, killing off a key target. And Golden Guardians, every single team fight was lost before it really even started. It just didn't feel like they had a shot, even though the gold was very even. You know, they laned well against CL. They just couldn't compete in 5v5, and they couldn't get the setups at the objectives.
And I think a lot of it's what you're talking about. Team Liquid always jumping in and engaging as soon as they see the Gnar not ready to participate with the ulti, with the mega form. And I mean, when we were looking at this draft, I was like, wow, they've got all these tools for engage, right? Like they've got Nautilus, they've got Ashe, they've got Ornn. When you have all of that, it's pretty easy to just go, hey, you see that little prehistoric dude? Smack him over the head real quick. It's not that big of a challenge, and Team Liquid made it look easy with how good they are.